Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is Saturday, the 17th of July. The weekend is upon us, and it is beautiful out there. So I hope you're lapping it all up. I'm having to put factor 50 on with this little ginge going on. But listen, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Loads of stuff to get into today, as is always the case on the Just Joe Football Show and the Daily Leeds, which brings you all the latest news from Elland Road, Thorp and anything concerning the mighty Leeds United. So let's get into it. So, guys, we're going to start, first of all, with the return of Sir Philip of Hay and the Phil Hay Show. If you want Leeds United Bob on 100% correct information, then you go to the Oracle himself. And he's been up to his old tricks. He's come out and he's gave us a load of information, which is bang on. I've just noticed there, I've still got paint on my hands. I've been painting my fence, man. You know, day-to-day life and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to start with that. And the news that Victor Orta, Leeds United sporting director, has reportedly met with goalkeeper Kristoffer Klaesson, the Norwegian keeper, and it's been reported in Norway as well that he is the number one target for the goalkeeper position for Leeds United, and it's been made official. There has officially been contact between Valencia and Leeds United. Orta has actually been on a visit to Oslo, met with Kristoffer Klaesson, met with Valencia, and apparently Leeds United have now submitted a bid, and apparently the bid is close to what Valencia wants. So the clubs are in negotiation. We spoke to Kristoffer Klaesson. He seems to be the goalkeeper they want. And remember, this goalkeeper is one that we were interested in when we initially went for Ilya Melies from, 2019 it was. So he's obviously got great pedigree. He's obviously a top keeper. We know that the Woodman deal's off. We initially went for him. Maybe just it would have been an easy deal to make. But he was going to go to Bournemouth, and then, of course, Dubravka got injured, meaning he's staying at St James's Park. But it looks like Leeds United have set their stall out, and they want to get Kristoffer Klaesson, the Norwegian keeper who plays at Valencia. So he seems to be the one we're after. He did also, Phil gave us some news via The Athletic that apparently Helder Costa is drawing interest from a number of Spanish clubs, the main one being La Liga outfit Valencia. They seem to be the one who are most interested in Helder Costa. What do I think about that? My opinion, I'd be happy with a move. I do think, like previous players, they are well versed in the Bielsa methods. If they want to stay in a deal that doesn't work out Leeds' way in terms of monetary value, a decent return on our investment, then keep them at the club, because it takes a lot, as we know, for a player to get up to speed when it comes to Marcelo Bielsa and what is required from a player, from him as a coach. So, but look, it's no secret Leeds United are in for a winger. If we were to get another winger, then that moves Helder Costa even further down the pecking order. There were question marks over him in the Championship. There was even more question marks over him in the Premier League. The emergence of Rafinha, and then Poveda was used, for a period of time ahead of him off the bench. So he's well dropped down the pecking order for me. So look, if Helder Costa can get a move and the money, getting given to Leeds makes sense, then I'm fully behind that deal. I like Costa. I like Helder Costa. I hope it does work out, but it hasn't up to this point. And if clubs are knocking at the door, clubs like Valencia, then for me, it makes sense to move Helder Costa on. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, guys. Just some more as well from the Phil Hay Show. They spoke specifically about the winger. Remember that we heard from Graham Smith a couple of days ago where he was saying that, the winger's a possibility, which me, it was like, really? I thought we were nailed on that we were getting a left-back, centre midfielder and a winger. Now it seems like the winger's a possibility. It may happen, it may not. The fact that Costa goes, I think it will. But the winger situation is causing a few problems. And Phil said himself, Graham Smith said it, and it's come from the horse's mouth, Victor Orta, that they expect the winger deal to go late into the window. Apparently the club are not desperate to do it. But if it does happen, it will go late into the window. A bit like the Rafinha deal. It wasn't until late in the window, Victor Orta got a call from Deco saying, Rafinha's available. Do you want him? They want to sell. They're willing to take X amount. Boom, got it done. And the similar situation may happen with other targets. Now, we know that Victor Orta likes to have three. You know, we've seen that with the goalkeeper position. We had Woodman, we had Klaesson, and then the other guy from Spain as well. And we know that he likes to have 3 for every position. I think he's sold on his centre midfielder, but the winger one, you know, Phil here went on to say that they are well on board with Noah Lang. You know, Noah Lang is definitely one of them, okay? And maybe it'll go late into the window and then Club Brugge get on the phone and say, look, we're willing to sell Noah Lang now. You know, what Phil did do, he poured water on Mikkel Damsgaard, Matheus Cunha, Nafi Hernandez. I know Hernandez isn't a winger, but he poured water on that and said, look, we spoke to the club on a number of occasions, and we've always been told he's not on the list. He's well versed in what Bielsa's requirements are. He can play a number of positions. People have called him another Stuart Dallas. That's not such a bad thing. I don't think that should be seen as a slant, but I think a lot of people are saying, well, we've already got Stuart Dallas. We don't need another. We need something different, which I also understand as well. But apparently, you know, the club have openly said to Phil and Graham, etc., that it's just far too expensive for Leeds United. We don't see the value in that deal. And, you know, the figures that were bounded about is like 30 to 35 million euros for Hernandez. So that makes sense. And we're even seeing in Italy now that they're now being quiet on that. I think they've come to the realization that that's one that's not going to happen. I don't think it ever was. But one thing that was interesting, although he poured water on Damsgaard Cunha, he did mention Dan James. And apparently Bielsa is still a massive fan of Dan James. I'm quite surprised at that. Not that he's a massive fan, but apparently Dan James is still on that list. He's still one that the club will be happy to do. So, you know, Dan James, look, if he came, any player that gets sign off from Bielsa, you know, Bielsa was sold on that kid in the Championship. There's a lot of potential there in Bielsa's opinion, in Bielsa's eyes. Yes, his star has fallen a bit since going to that team from across the Pennines. I think a lot of pressure was put on his shoulders straight away when he was put into the side. Of course, their fans were expecting Jadon Sancho. They got Dan James. It's not a comparison, is it? But I think now that they've got Sancho, they've got the kid Diallo, they've got a number of options, Dan James is going to be stuck. So it could be a case where Manchester United do say, look, Dan James is available. And are Leeds United, all right, is Victor Orta waiting for that? Are they waiting so late in the window to wait for these sort of, you know, calls to come in? But Phil Hayes seemed to think that Dan James was still high up on that list. And as I say, because Sancho's gone there, it may be a deal that could happen. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that. Noah Lang, Dan James, they sound 2 that are on that list. Who's that third? I'm not sure. Maybe it's Bricalo. Maybe it's the winger from Wolfsburg, Bricalo. He's been linked again. He was playing for Croatia in the European Championships. Whenever I seen him, I wasn't sold on him. I'm not going to lie. And when I seen him, I was like, nah, not for me. But he's one that's been mentioned. But Cunha and Damsgaard, their water was poured on them by Phil here. So I think we can move on in that area. He did say, look, the centre midfielder, it came across in the Phil Hay show that they didn't really have a clue who that is. But it's one that Leeds United need and one they really want to do. Okay. He did believe as well, Phil Hay did say that it'll be someone with time on their side, you know, mid-20s, about 20, 25, between that bracket, both for potential and resale value. Remember, the club have always said we're going to follow a Leicester model, you know, and that's bringing in players that have a high resale value. I know not like a lot of people like to hear it, but look at Ilian Melia, look at Rafinha, you know, high resale value on them acquisitions, if indeed they ever do need to move on, if we don't hit the heights that we all believe we can do under Bielsa, you know. So this midfielder that I believe Orta's chosen, he knows which one it is. It's just obviously negotiations between the clubs. He's not out there in the press yet. We know that Klaasson's come, you know, one that we want 100%. We know that Thorp, again, the winger, from what I glean from what Phil's saying, Noah Lang, Dan James, maybe another. Centre midfielder, though, none the wiser. And do you know what? I think that's a good thing. Because it means it's happening now. For me, it means it's happening now. It's under the radar, talks, negotiations. Because look at the left-back position. We're all talking about Javi Galán, Tagliafico, Roman Parade, and then what? Boom, Thorp's coming. Within 7 days, it was done. So I think we'll hear from who this midfielder is, hopefully very, very soon. Winger, again, it looks like that could rumble into August, guys, back end of August as well. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But look, Let me know thoughts, guys. Dan James, what you're saying. Noah Lang, I think would be on board with that. I know he's got question marks over his mentality, etc., but I think we'd all be on board with that quality-wise. But yeah, interesting days. I love it. Phil's back in the fray. I love that we're going to get these weekly updates, and it gives us loads to talk about. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I don't know if you'll have seen as well that Leeds United now have announced a further 2 friendlies. Will face Real Betis at Loughborough University on July the 31st. Kick-off 12:30. I don't know if fans will be allowed into that. We'll have to wait and see. And there's also a trip to face Ajax in Amsterdam. That's penciled in for the 4th of August at 7:15. Unfortunately, it is going to be a packed house, but it won't have away fans in because no away fans are permitted due to COVID restrictions, which is a shame because I'd have loved a trip to Amsterdam. 100%. I've never been either. that'd have been a good away day, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. I seen my friend Rob Mulholland say on Twitter, you know, this is the worst part of COVID that we've had to deal with. The fact that we've got an away trip to Ajax and we can't even go. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Listen, if it's available to watch, then I will do watch-alongs for them games as well. And just to finish, guys, as well, Ronaldo Vieira, remember that name. He has been linked with a Yorkshire return, but not to Leeds United. He's been linked with a return to Sheffield United. And listen, I hope make that move, Ronaldo. Make that move. You know, come back. Get yourself back into the Premier League with Sheffield United if indeed they can make that jump this season. But I think it's a decent club for him to come back at, and he's a great talent, is Ronaldo Vieira. So I hope it works out for him because it hasn't quite worked out for him in Italy. But that's the end of today's episode. Absolutely loads in there. I want to know your thoughts. Get your comments in. Hit the notification bell. Of course, like this video as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the sun. And I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.